Thank you, Odhran. Please welcome Pinky Bhandari with a speech titled Silence. Silence, Pinky Bhandari.
So today my speech is about silence. Mr. Toastmaster, fellow members, and dear guests. Let me take you through a journey. This is my journey of how I found silence in my life and how I try to embrace it in my life day to day. It started in the year 2004, and I was living in Sydney at the time, and I'd heard about a program for silence, how to keep silent for 10 days, and I decided, okay, this is something I need to challenge myself with. So that year during the Christmas break, which is my usual tradition to go back home to India to visit my family, I decided, no, I'm going to take this silence program during the Christmas period and not speak for 11 days. So here I was on this journey to take an oath of silence. It is about being quiet in my mind, in my body, in my spirit. And I was looking forward to it because I was curious. Perhaps it's my effervescent personality that was showing me that, yes, this is something I needed to do. And I did not know what to expect, but because I was curious, I kept an open mind and I went along. I signed up for this program. I found myself in a retreat not very far from Sydney in the Blue Mountains. Dare I think that this was Theru coming to me in broad daylight and helping me understand what silence and the woods would be about. So day 0, it started in the evening, and we were briefed about the program, about the rules of how to keep silent, of general housekeeping rules. And at 6 p.m. we were then told that from now onwards you're not allowed to speak for 11 days and 10 nights. And it was daunting at first, but it was the first night. I was excited, and I was like, yes, I can do this. This is easy. I just don't have to talk for 11 days. How hard can it be? And it was fantastic for me. But so we went to sleep at 9 p.m. And before we went to sleep, though, we were given our itinerary for the next 11 days. Now, I tried to memorize this itinerary, but I have to refer to my notes just so I can give you an understanding of my day, what it was going to be. So we would wake up at 4 a.m. We would hear a gong, a Buddhist gong, and that was our wake-up call. And when from 4 to 4:30 it was our time to get ready, we prepared for the next meditation session, which was from 4:30 to 7. I'll talk about the meditation session in a bit. From 7 to 8 a.m. we had an hour for breakfast. It was also an hour to perhaps have a shower, wash your clothes, but everything in silence. And from 9 a.m. to 12, we then had to again meditate. 12 to 1 was lunch, again in silence. From 1 to 3, this was our quiet time. It was relaxed. It was our time, but it was still about being quiet and being relaxed in that time. Then we had to meditate from 3 to 5. And then there was tea from 5 to 5:30, and then meditate again from 5:30 to 9:30. And then half an hour was wind down, lights out at 10 p.m. And I didn't realize that I would only get 6 hours of sleep. That was my biggest concern, because I'm used to sleeping 8 hours every day. My husband takes an hour to wake me up. So he starts waking me up at 7 a.m. and I wake up at 8 a.m. And here I was doing this meditation thinking, how am I going to survive 6 hours of sleep? But I persevered, and this was about determination. It was about challenging myself, and I said, I'm going to do it. And I started day 1 thinking I could go ahead, and it was fine. Day 2 came along, it was the same thing, it was fine. By day 4, I think I had reached my breaking point. I felt pain in body parts I didn't know existed. I felt pain that I never knew I could feel. And it was, I think it was part of that letting go of emotions. It was about samskaras. And the message that I want to give you today is I was trying to hold on to those emotions. I was holding on to those samskaras even though they were causing me so much pain. And with perseverance and determination, I continued until day 5, day 6. Day 8 is when I realized there was a change in me. And this change brought an inner calm. There's no words to describe, perhaps bliss or inner bliss. And I felt equanimous with myself, with my body, with my spirit. And the pain was no longer there. And I realized, wow, this is the triumph I've been wanting. But it was about letting go, because I did not want to hold on to that same feeling, because it would create a new bunch of sanskaras or emotions and baggage. So at the same time I was triumphed and I was trying to let go, but at the same time I wanted to hold on to this feeling of bliss. It's mine. And what I've realized over the 6-7 years after this experience is whether you have a feeling of being down, whether it's the tremendous feeling you feel when you see love reciprocated, or when you see love in the eyes of your child, or you see love and happiness in the eyes of your partner, you've got to be calm with that. You've got to be harmonized with that feeling and not let it override all your other emotions. So in conclusion today, I want to leave you with the spirit of harmony and equanimity. And it's a time of Christmas, it's a time of joy, it's a time of happiness, it's a time of sharing, but it's at the same time, it's about being honest to yourself and being harmonized to yourself. Thank you.
And Pinky's speech is going to be evaluated by Odhran. Can I please ask everyone to welcome Odhran to the stage?
Pinky, it was a great speech. Well done, well done. The two things that I really liked about Pinky's speech was first is the passion. I think when someone stands up and speaks with passion, people get sucked in. So I'm not saying we can tell when someone's faking it, but when someone's got genuine passion, which you obviously have, I love that. The other thing I really like, which is I suppose you're the top. I love it when someone picks something that I'm not over. Something that's interesting that I'm not familiar with at all. I know the whole idea of going on a retreat or going on a fast, but I love when I hear a story of someone who's just done something that bit different that I haven't done myself. And because I sort of find that I always, while you're talking, I'm sort of putting myself in your shoes, and it sort of kicked home. I think you were maybe a minute and a half into the speech, and as it was going through my mind, I was thinking to myself, gee, that couldn't be that hard, could it really? And I think just as I was thinking that, you said the same thing. You said, how hard could it be? Because 10 days, just take it easy. Which is great. So, I don't know about everybody else, but I found myself sort of getting into her shoes, going, "Yeah, how do we feeling now?" Sort of day 3, day 4. And the other thing, as far as organising it go, you'll always hear about the whole idea with our speeches where you've got a start, a middle, and an end. But it even makes it easier again when you sort of gave us a nice little intro, and then you divided up the 10 days. So even if if their mind did wander all of a sudden, it's so quick to get back into it. So if Prashant hadn't said at the very end that you only to put that together on Friday, I would have, and anyone who's done Toastmasters a while know that you put so little time and came out with a speech like that is admirable, and well done on that. And look, where I did see a there was very nobody here would know it, but. Firstly, you had no notes. The only notes you had was actually when notes from obviously your time on this retreat, because I've never seen when you can't talk as much as you can. You want to see the amount of notes Pinky had in that page. So if you're sitting there in silence and you've nothing to do all day, you're obviously scribbling like a madwoman, because I think you had 40 pages of notes there that you were flicking through, which is interesting. If I had at the start, I don't know, sometimes it's because I'm sitting so close to you. I don't know if anyone noticed it here. At the very start, you seem to be going backwards and forwards quite a bit. I don't know if anyone else noticed it. I noticed at the start, and then I thought, is this affecting what I'm seeing or not? But then you sort of stopped, and it all fitted in nicely. But the only recommendation I had was, because I was thinking to myself, what's going through your mind when you're in a situation like this for 10 days? And you mentioned the same word twice, and I didn't get it the first time, and I didn't get it the second time either. And it was, you were holding on to those samsaras or samskaras. Am I missing something? What was the word?
Oh, it is a Sanskrit word. It's samskaras, which means the emotions and the cause and effect of those emotions that you hold on to.
Is it? Because that was.
I should have explained.
Yeah, and that was it. Because obviously I'm thinking, what would go through your mind if you don't talk for 10 days?
Yeah.
And you mentioned the first one, I go, okay, she's not going to say it again. And then you did. But the second time I didn't know what it was either. And if I want to get to the crux of what your message was about, that's what I wanted to hear, what was actually going through.
Yeah.
So next time, when it gets to something important as that,
Yeah.
maybe just go a bit deeper, because no different than the words of the week or the words of the day, where sometimes people never heard that word. I'll take a rough guess at 90% of the people. I don't know. Maybe a quick show of hands. Who knew what that was? So okay, so yeah, I was going to say 90%. So that was the only thing. But as far as, like I said, I got sucked into the whole message, and I love speeches like that. When someone speaks with passion, all the better. So well done.